Hi, this is Elena the Greek, and this video is a transmission about divine feminine and divine masculine, sacred flames, and how things are currently happening between those two dynamics of these divine energies. And this is where the video is completed. I'm joking. I'm joking because for me, it feels like um, a lot of things are done and over in many ways. And I will explain what that means, going deeper and explaining why this feels kind of uncomfortable. And it hasn't felt like that in other videos. So the divine feminine is going through her own transformation in ways she hasn't before, which means she's embracing different aspects of her feminine energies, and it's like a veil has lifted and she can see through a lot of things that she wasn't able to see before. There were indications, absolutely yes, in many ways. She would feel there is a calling in different directions for her to expand in a different way than what she has done so far. And now there's a huge shift that is taking place where one chapter of her life is coming to an end, closing. And it's not only a chapter, in some ways, in some divine feminine, this will be only a chapter, but for most of us, it is more like we are done with this book and we are moving on to the next one. And this is not only to do with the divine masculine, but there is always an interconnectedness of both of these energies. And it is important for us to understand that as divine feminine, no matter the gender, you are going to close this book of your old life and stop identifying yourself with the roles you have identified in the past because this is no longer in alignment with you. The transformation that has taken place, all these upgrades we have received, old contracts, soul contracts have come to an end or they are about to come to an end in a different way than ever before. And it's beautiful to embrace that. It's not just the connections that are gonna be stopping. It's gonna be a bit different. There is gonna be a transformation with the connections you already have in your life. Things that were holding you back from embracing who you are. And that kind of transformation will be changing the dynamic of a lot of things in many ways, which practically it means that you are embracing a new aspect of yours where you are creating a lot more space to figure out who you are becoming as divine feminine, what was holding you back so far, and there will be a lot of energy that you thought you didn't have. And it is actually returning to you because you completed these soul contracts that you had for a long, long time. This might be family members, specific friendships from your life. This can also be people that were in and out from your life in a romantic way. And I say that because a lot of how can I say that? A lot of energies and codes that we needed to ground ourselves into who we are were coming through our experiences with other connections, with the possibility of someone being a partner for life or even a relationship, a dating aspect in our lives. All of these triggers were here so far and still are in some ways, so we can embrace aspects of ourselves that we didn't think that existed. And this is important because in that space, we are integrating more of ourselves. And remember, you can't stay in a cave and meditate all day long, all night long, and become the guru of the divine feminine or whatever, a fully integrated human being in this experience. And that obviously because it is happening because we are getting into a space and we always were that in that space that we have to embrace ourselves through our connections, the learning processes we have with others, and through of all the things that are changing for us in an interconnected way, I'm trying to say. So, for example, I wouldn't be who I am if my family was different, if my friends were different, if my connections were different so far in my life. So, all of these things, all of these connections, all of these people are shaping us into who we are, and they were needed in our path in a way that they were helping us to activate aspects of ourselves that we didn't even know that existed. So that's a beautiful change and transformation that is taking place for the divine feminine. And even if you were feeling that I had to work more on my masculine energy or more on this aspect of mine, that was kind of different and misaligned with you, but it was helping you to align yourself in your feminine energies. That feels complete and over in many ways, even if you felt that you had to protect yourself against specific energies, specific people, specific situations, that your boundaries weren't respected, that you weren't seen for who you are. All of these are learning as learning processes are coming to an end in order for you to embrace fully your feminine energies and for you to be placed in your unique energy, however that is expressed in your everyday life through your appearance, through your actions, through your words, of how you hold yourself, how you present yourself in every possible way you can imagine. And that is about the divine feminine. Now we're moving on to the divine masculine, which feels a lot different as an energy so far. My guides keep reminding me of previous transmissions and videos and channelings I have done when it comes to divine masculine, and I don't usually touch as much that energy of the divine masculine, but today there is something that has shifted massively when it comes to the divine masculine, and they had too many collapsing moments, too many tower moments in a way that they had to actually set off the layers of who they weren't so far, the influences of others in them, which has a similarity with the divine feminine, if you reflect on that, that the divine feminine has come into the level of who she is, understanding herself because of the connections she had so far in her life that shaped her and formed her into who she is. Similarly, the divine masculine was in a space of taking in a lot of things in a different way. They were seeing everything that was taking place around them. They were deciding mentally who they want to be. They have created so far a specific identity of who they think they were and still are in some ways. And they are setting all these layers off from themselves now in a way to truly connect with who they are, not the dream of a success that was guiding them, that was their compass of understanding themselves, not a goal that feels financially successful or with a great fame behind it, or with something that wasn't exactly clicking with them, but it was that dreamy energy that I want to be that, I want to reach that, I want to be that person for others, I want to lead in that way. So the divine masculine has been setting off these layers that are not in alignment with them, that they have seen it doesn't lead anywhere actually. They found some walls of here's a wall of through that goal that I had in mind. This is another wall that it hit me, and one more wall that I found in front of me where I was expecting open doors or I was expecting more synchronicities for me to be aligned, but they realized they were following someone else's dream. And not only that, a dream that was fake in a way that was leading them in a space that wasn't theirs to claim. And that consequently creates a lot of tower moments. So, in that space, what they are embracing now as divine masculine in this point of time has to do with who they really are, seeing things from a different perspective that they hadn't been able to do before because the mirrors around them, the people around them were actually supportive of that illusion they were holding on to, that fake identity of who they are. They were very supportive and energetically, and they are getting into a English please, into a space of connecting with their true self in a different sense than ever before, where they will be able to shine their true light and connect with who they truly are in a different way than ever before. They will find their genius zone easier and more in alignment with them. Actions will be falling into place for them. They won't be forcing things to happen. This is what is changing for them. And of course, because we are gradually going through these changes in a parallel way, although we are disconnected separately in our own little worlds, if it makes sense. This is divinely guided for us to be in that space so separately, so disconnected. We are still moving on in a parallel way. And yes, even the divine feminine went through a lot of challenges, tower moments, but it felt more natural for the divine feminine. It felt more in alignment with her. It felt more like, I'm supposed to be going through this and this and this and this. And now we are getting into a space of breathing again and being able to be in a different space of holding our own energy, our own power, our own wisdom for what's coming up next in a different way than before. Ah, the masculine is the anchor for the divine feminine. And if the divine feminine doesn't feel anchored through a masculine energy, what she does is stepping into her own masculine energies. And this is what we are trying to avoid at this point of time, energetically at least. And I'm saying we try to avoid, but we don't do it consciously. It's not a conscious choice. We actually do it in a different way where there are people guided into our lives to hold that masculine energy as an anchor for us so we can feel safe enough, protected enough to go higher and channel and bring down different codes, different energies, different kind of mindsets, and a lot of things that feel very creative. And I don't know if you can understand the energy around you. At least on this video, what I feel is a very, very, very extremely warm energy that is not stopping and makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. But at the same time, I know it has to do with the divine masculine in whatever way that is presented to me in this point of time, not necessarily by my sacred flame. So in that space, I think I channeled and explained exactly what I needed to do with this transmission. And of course, there are more things that will be shifting and changing for both of these energies, divine feminine, divine masculine. And they want us to get into a space of feeling the union and unity within ourselves. And I say they want us, and I mean spirit guides and divine guidance, alignment that is take place in the background for all of us in a different sense. There is a lot of activity that is taking place in the background, but we're going to be seeing the results of that in a few weeks up to months of how things will be shifting rapidly. Especially for the divine feminine, we start again. Okay. There are many things that will be shifting very fast in a different way than ever before, but they will be fully aligned with the divine feminine, these things that will be shifting. Opportunities presented, new changes, even relocation, a lot of things that have to do with the divine feminine steps when it comes to work, opportunities that may be appearing from literally out of the blue, although they will be some kind of wish fulfillment in some ways, still they will be showing up over and over again. And the only suggestion that comes through has to do with follow what feels not exciting, because that may be a trap, or follow what feels I'm trying to find the word. They give me the frequency, but they don't give me the word. The word is kind of calm and peaceful, aligned in a very different way than ever before. And it won't be forceful, it won't be too mind blowing. It will be exactly what is needed and in a very beautiful way, gracefully presented to you. So, this is what I'm getting. Get into a space of allowing yourself to check in with your intuition of how it feels to tap into the energy of what is suggested to you, what is offered to you, and get into a space of allowing yourself to feel comfortable on or uncomfortable because both of these things may show up at the same time. That might be a no for this specific opportunity, but still check with yourself of what that uncomfortable feeling is because it may be intuition of something that is kind of hidden but not exactly hidden, if it makes sense. I'm not sure what that is about. I'm giving it in the way I'm getting it. If there is more for me to explain on that, there will be another video on another channeling that will take place when it comes to divine feminine and divine masculine, or a clarification video that we will be tapping more into that to explain and bring more clarity. There is a question I keep hearing if there will be any approach from the divine masculine to the divine feminine, and I think that comes psychically from someone that will be watching this video. Yes, there will be an approach, kind of indirect. It doesn't look like an approach in a romantic way. It will feel like that energetically, but it won't be with words stated exactly like that. And in that space, go with your intuition of what feels right, how open you want to feel. There are some residual energies from the divine feminine that you may need to be kind of smoothing out of your system so you can feel again safe, protected, admired, even whatever feels right for you. If you feel still, hmm, I'm having my cards with me as always, and this is the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. There are still some residual feelings that need to be healed and released, but this time it's not about more shadow work or more inner work you have to do on your own. That will show up as soon as the connection restarts. There will be something that restarts the connection and probably coming from the divine masculine as an initiation of communication, and in that space, you will have time as divine feminine to heal and release the residual emotions. And that is absolutely fine. Don't be afraid to do it. It won't push them away. It won't scare them away because this is one of the fear-based mindsets that have been created about twin flames, sacred flames, and these dynamics, intense dynamics between aromatic connections. So I'm gonna leave you with this. I hope it resonates with you. Let me know in the comments how that feels for you, how, if it resonates to what level and degree, if it made sense to you, and ask me questions. Ask me questions, trigger me to channel more in a way that resonates with you. As always, be true to yourself and be your true self. And remember, everything is energy.